Hey everybody, it's Neil, one of the chefs with the National Pork Board. Today we're going to get outside, we're going to turn our grill into an oven where we're going to prepare dinner and dessert all in one. We're going to take a pork loin, rub it in some spice, some coffee, and we're going to roast that right alongside of a bread pudding we're going to make in a cast iron. So let's start with preparing the pork and then we'll take everything outside. Let's begin by preparing the marinade for the pork loin. So what I have here are some New Mexican red chilies that have been boiled in hot water to rehydrate them. I've got chili de árbol for some spice. So the New Mexican chili is a little bit more neutral, doesn't have a lot of spice to it, but it has flavor, sweetness. And then I have red onion and 2 cloves of garlic that have been minced up and some extra virgin olive oil. So we're gonna blend all this together. It's going to turn a really nice orange color, which is going to give the pork really great color on the grill. And we're going to have plenty to baste the meat as we cook. So let's begin by just pureeing this until it's a really smooth paste. Take a look, and we are good. So I'm gonna grab my pork out of the fridge and we will marinate the pork. Taking my pork out of the fridge, as you can see here, I've just wrapped it in some butcher twine. That makes the shape nice and round so that it cooks evenly throughout. And this is a lean cut, so it's really gonna go well with the rich bread pudding that we're also gonna prepare. So really simple ingredients. We've got our marinade, you can see the color on it. It's really nice bright orange. I'm gonna save some of this to baste, and if there's any left over, to use as a dipping sauce for anyone that wants some at the end. So make sure that you're not putting a utensil in the dipping sauce and then touching the pork. So we're just gonna pour it over the top, and I've got a deep dish here so I can turn it. We've got our coffee grounds. These are not instant. I like using fresh coffee grounds because I wanna have the crunch. If you use instant coffee, it's just gonna, as soon as moisture hits it, it's gonna turn to coffee. So these are real coffee grounds so that they don't go and give me something that I don't want. I want the crunch. And then this is just a blend of salt and pepper. So we're gonna start by putting some of the marinade into the dish. And then you just turn the pork in the dish. You want to get the ends too. Put a little bit more. All right, and then my coffee. And my salt and pepper. And then again, I'm going to give it a turn. And do the other side. Coffee. And salt and pepper. And then we're just going to turn it. Don't forget the ends. All right, and there's the pork loin. So now I can let this sit for about 2 hours in the fridge. You can go overnight if you'd like, but 2 hours is gonna be just long enough for me. We are gonna make bread pudding on the grill. So this is a quick and easy recipe that you can throw together. I've got some day-old bread here that I let dry out overnight. It's half croissant and half brioche. I really like the butteriness of both, and the layers and the texture of the croissant crisp up and give you just a different bite than you would with the brioche. I've got some whole milk with a little bit of vanilla in it, cinnamon, nutmeg, eggs, and then white sugar, and then some sugar in the raw. I like using a combination of sugar in the raw and granulated sugar because the sugar in the raw will give you a bit of a crunch. Again, it's about texture. So you get the custardy with the bread and the eggs, and then you'll get a little bit of crunch with the sugar in the raw. So first thing we'll do, get a bowl, whisk your eggs, add the milk and vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, and the sugar. So once that's good and whisked, take your bread and just put it in. Now you want to switch to a spatula because you just want to fold the bread. We don't want to break it apart. So you're going to fold in the bread into the egg and milk mixture. You're going to want to let this sit for about 15 minutes. So this is a good time for you to go light up your grill, start the charcoal while the bread is soaking up the custard. So about 15 minutes, we'll put this in a pan and we'll get it on the grill. It's been 15 minutes. You can see that the custard has started to soak into the bread. I've got a cast iron pan here. I just rubbed it really lightly with butter. And so I'm just gonna pour the mixture right into the cast iron. And I'm gonna kind of flatten it out just a little bit, but I want some of these peaks in different angles because I want this to have different textures, and you'll get those crunchy bits that are really good that kind of stick towards the top. So on top of this, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit extra of the turbinado sugar, the sugar in the raw, because again, I want some of that crunch. And we'll put the lid on this, and we will take this out to the grill, and we will cook it with our dinner. All right, my coals have come up about 75% of the way. They don't need to be all the way hot because they're gonna continue to cook for a long time, so it's okay to dump them a little bit early. And we're doing indirect cooking, so all my coals are gonna be on one side. Put the grate. Put our bread pudding to one side, away from the heat. And our pork loin on the other side. And we want to create an oven, so putting a lid on it. And we want it to come to 350 degrees, just like an oven. So I'm going to let the temp come up, and then we'll check it, make sure we're at the right spot, adjusting the vents as needed, and we'll be good to go. So the grill is holding right where I want it, right around 350 degrees, just like it would be for an oven inside your house. And I'm going to come out and check the pork every 10-15 minutes. I don't want it to overcook, so I'm going to check it with a thermometer and make sure that it hits 145 degrees Fahrenheit. And by that time, the bread pudding should be perfect. So we'll check in about 10 minutes. As you're cooking this, you're going to want to make sure that you turn the cast iron a quarter turn about every 10 minutes. That way there's an even amount of heat that's being dispersed around the pan. You don't want it to burn on one side and not the other. So make sure you're turning the pan a quarter of the way very carefully because it's going to be really hot. And always move the pork around as well, just to make sure that it's not burning and getting too much color on one side. So it's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. All right, we are gonna take a look at our bread pudding. And that is done. So I'm gonna take that off and let it sit for about 30 minutes, and the pork is gonna keep cooking for probably about another 10 minutes. While the pork loin's cooking, I'm gonna finish the bread pudding by making a caramel sauce quick. So I have brown sugar, I have butter and bacon fat. That's where you're gonna get some of that smokiness from. Sea salt. And a little bit of half and half and some vanilla. And now I'm gonna whisk gently until it just melts. And I'm using brown sugar so that I don't actually have to make a true caramel with white sugar. This is just a lot easier. So again, I always tell people, save your bacon fat. Bacon fat is one of the best things that you can use in a lot of different things. So never throw it away. Put it into a little container and put it in your freezer. We'll bring this to a quick boil. And we're ready to go. In about 2 minutes, you can see got a nice dark brown color. Quick and easy caramel. So now I can pull that off, put that just to the back where there's no coals, and let that sit, stay warm. Pork is just about done. Once I hit 145, I'll give it 3 minutes rest. I'll slice this, and we will put this all together. All right, I am at 147, so I am good to go. I'm gonna pull the meat, let it rest, and then slice it up. So here we have the bread pudding. It's sat for about 30 minutes. Got a nice color on the outside. We're just gonna cut it into slices. And then we'll take some of our caramel sauce, our bacon fat caramel. And then I actually have some of the bacon that I used to get the fat from it. So I can put some of that on. And then a little bit of caramel corn or some crunch. So bread pudding that was baked in a cast iron in the grill. I hope you found this recipe easy to follow and give you some ideas the next time you fire up your grill. Cooking your dinner and your dessert all at the same time, outdoors, getting the heat out of the house and being outside. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy grilling some pork this summer.